When the Indian home schedule was announced of 4 tests, 5 T20Is and 3 ODIs, you say, great, yet another season where the Indian fans are going to see their teams in action. 2 tests in October, 2 tests in November. The major series that India are playing, apart from the West Indies 2 tests, is India versus South Africa. Now, there was even heightened anticipation when Barsapara was announced as one of the venues. For the first time ever in the history of cricket, Northeast is going to host a test match. Great, right? But there is a concern. Over one test venue, 14th to 18th November, which is in Delhi. November for people who are living in Delhi is an absolute nightmare. Because you remember the last time when there was a test match in Delhi in November, this was the common sight. Sri Lanka's cricketers were absolutely unable to bear the massive pollution that was there in Delhi. And you all know that pre-Diwali, October, November onwards, you will see stubble burning and you will see Diwali. What does that do? It absolutely spikes the pollution level to a different level altogether. You can't breathe in Delhi. So that is why in November 2017, when India and Sri Lanka played a test match at the Arun Jaitley Stadium, the Sri Lankan players vomited. But look at the audacity of the Indian fan. They said, oh, the Sri Lankans are weak. It is because they have gotten used to disastrous levels of pollution that they had this condescending attitude which completely clouded their brain. You want more proof? Look at what happened in October and November when Sri Lanka played against Bangladesh. India versus Bangladesh also one particular instance in 2019. AQI levels were absolutely off the charts. There was a concern whether the match will take place or not, but it took place. And this is the kind of situation you will always see in Delhi NCR in October and November. Despite knowing all of that, why did the BCCI decide to host a test match in November? And that too with South Africa. Because if you have to look at the average AQI numbers that has been there ever since November, when the pollution records were started in 2015 onwards. 2023, 373 AQI. It is near hazardous. 400 is hazardous. 321, 377, 328, 312, 335, 361, 374. It is always severe and hazardous. That is the range with which Delhi's AQI continues. Now, all the data is there. This is, by the way, a report that the Times of India had done. The Times of India had collated this information, and despite all of that, despite having this instance, you have scheduled a test match in November. What is the BCCI thinking? If you are thinking properly, if you have got the senses, you should not host a test match around November in the north. Anywhere up in the north from Punjab to Uttar Pradesh, you cannot host a test match because AQI levels entire North India. It will be really, really calamitous. Will the BCCI have the acumen to say, okay, let us not host a test match in November in Delhi, let's host it somewhere else? Will they do that? They should technically do that. They should already start the procedure to inform any other state association whether they'll have the backdrop of it. But no, unlike the previous instances when Dharamshala couldn't do it, they had to shift to Indore last minute. So, have the BCCI made a massive mistake in hosting a test match in November in Delhi? Because stubble burning and Diwali, these two events will ensure Delhi's air pollution is at a hazardous level, and don't be mistaken if the South African team raises an issue about it. You may see something big in 2025 if the right decision isn't taken. Will the match be shifted out of Delhi? We hope that there is no pollution in that period, but that is asking for too much. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis.